I'm surprised Philly didn't just do it. It just seems like a very Philly type of move. They also now they have different set. They don't have a lot of cash constrictions because Jeffrey Lurie will put it on the credit card. But even with that, they do have some potential cap issues on the horizon. So maybe that hurt them in that regard.
All right, I need to address this. That's basically all he discusses regarding the Philadelphia Eagles, and then he shifts to talking about other franchises, but he specifically called out Philly. So I wanted to focus on that. I also noticed other people in the comment section, because I'm aware there were some whispers about Myles Garrett potentially landing in Philly. Not for that kind of haul. You know, that is enormous. That is massive. That is huge. And the Eagles right now are positioned to have to hand out big contracts to many players. And the Eagles were not one Myles Garrett away from a title, because you would also have to include Jalen Carter in any trade. So what you're really looking at is whether Myles Garrett represents an upgrade over Jalen Carter. For sure, he does. But are they just that one upgrade away from winning the Super Bowl? No. That's not where the Eagles are at or what their current focus is. So if they had to give up that package, plus their 2027 first-rounder, plus their 2028 second and third, and then they're also potentially getting an A.J. Brown first-round pick. Obviously, I'm recording this before any of that happens. So the way I see it is that the Eagles, especially given some of their contracts and how they want to operate, because as Nick kind of hinted at, using their credit card, what that really refers to is the void years you add, and you front the cash. So when you use void years, the owner has to provide that money up front. It comes dire. CTLY out of their pocket. That then reduces their ability to earn returns on that capital, as I always mention. That's how many owners generate so much of their wealth, through the interest on the large sums they hold. That's why a lot of owners are reluctant to do it, because if you take $100 million out of an owner's pocket, they think, yeah, I'll get that money back eventually, and it's somewhat like monopoly money, but it's still my actual cash, and I'm earning maybe 10% or more in interest if the stock market goes up a few points. I make a fortune off that. So owners aren't necessarily eager to do that. Jeffrey Lurie is like, nah, I'm fine with it. Let's go for it. But here's the reality, this is what I was saving for my A.J. Brown take if it ends up being, say, a 2028 draft pick. That still turns out great because you need that draft capital right now, and you need it to be layered and staggered, otherwise, you have to pay too much money up front, and you end up in a situation where everyone is due a huge payday. The perfect example of this is Mailata. If Mailata becomes exactly the player the Eagles want him to be, then he's going to get paid. He's an offensive lineman. You're going to get a massive contract. That's why I've said one of the best value picks you can make in today's NFL is not a wide receiver but a tight end or a running back, because if they turn into what you hope, that's amazing, but at least you don't have to pay them $45 or maybe $50 million. And beyond. It's the best bargain in town for the production you receive, right? If Travis Kelce were actually a wide receiver instead of a tight end, and he was Patrick Mahomes' primary weapon, it changes everything. The money aspect changes everything, everything. Saquon Barkley, the weapon he was, especially in 2024, if he were a receiver, it changes everything. You can't afford it all. So if Mailata ends up being elite and special and becomes something like an Amon-Ra St. Brown, the amount of money owed is staggering, man. It's serious bank. And the Eagles want to be able to preserve some of that flexibility. The Rams are doing this because they figure Stafford is done in a year or two. And they truly believe they are one Myles Garrett away from winning the Super Bowl. The Eagles, on the other hand, think, well, our defense is legitimate. Our defense is elite. Our main focus is we need to bolster our offense. And that's exactly what they've done. Again, obviously you want to be able to do everything, right? And I even said in that Rams analysis, if there's a way for you to become a better team, if you can guarantee you'll be better this year and next, then you should pull the trigger. And who cares about the distant future? But again, given how the Eagles are built and the fact that they just won the Super Bowl in 2024, in theory, if you could instantly add Myles Garrett to your roster, the Eagles would improve. In theory, at least defensively. But does that make them an overall stronger Super Bowl contender than they already are or would otherwise be? And that answer is not as clear to me personally. Whereas for the Rams, it is. For the Rams, again, absolutely it is, especially when you start aligning the timelines. But the draft picks and the situation the Eagles find themselves in, look at it one of two ways. Because also now the Rams have Ty Simpson, which means they're going to have a quarterback on a rookie deal. Maybe not the full contract because obviously they still have Stafford, but they still won't really be paying him that kind of money. Whereas the Eagles are in an interesting spot. If they're going to keep Jalen Hurts, they're going to have to re-sign him and pay him big. And if not, and again, I'm not saying the Eagles are moving on from Jalen Hurts, but let's just say they decide, no, we don't like Jalen Hurts anymore. He's not good. Well, then they would certainly want those draft picks to be able to select a quarterback going forward, right? So it's like, or they say, no, Tanner McKee has always been the guy. Well, then they'd be able to pay Tanner McKee not much money because it's not like he has a huge market, but they would move on from Jalen Hurts and have Tanner McKee as the quarterback. This is strictly hypothetical. I'm just trying to illustrate a point. So don't get angry at me or panic. I'm simply trying to highlight the freedom and flexibility they would have. They would then lose all that capital, but instead no. They keep that capital. They have their own picks. They got an A.J. Brown pick, right? They have all of that and they think, great, we pay Tanner McKee not a lot of money relative to a starting quarterback. We think he's great. Obviously, since the Eagles are making that decision, they'd then be able to re-sign others and have this elite team moving forward, all with staggered contracts so they can continue to stagger the void years, continue to stagger when it's time to pay this player, when it's time to pay that player. So either way, it works out for them. So it's just a different situation and an entirely different timeline. And again, I'm just trying to map out the various paths, not saying this is what they will do or making predictions. So I understand in theory, right? It's like, oh, you know, Myles Garrett to the Eagles, and in a vacuum, absolutely, absolutely. But make no mistake, the Los Angeles Rams gave up a haul. I did the math in the earlier segment, it's essentially like 3 first-round picks when you factor in what Jared Verse is worth as well. And it's a lot. It's a ton. And it makes sense considering where the Rams were last year, how close they came to winning it all, Stafford's situation, etc. There are rumors that McVay, and you know what, a lot of rumors end up being true, there are rumors that McVay doesn't really want to do the whole long-term thing with Ty Simpson, that he might be done when Stafford is done. That he's not really committed to that. He goes all in now, but he wants his family and his kids, etc., and he might just try to win one more Super Bowl and then literally get paid like $200 million to be a commentator, right? He'll make absolute bank. He wants to live a slower life. He said that. So if he's thinking like that, the Rams will know that as well. And so it's kind of like, I don't know what 2029 is going to look like, and I don't care, because we're doing everything we possibly can right now. That's obviously not the situation the Eagles are in right now. So yeah, I think on one side, a move like that would be cool. It's exciting. It's always interesting. It's always thrilling. You always feel great when a team makes a move like that, like when the Eagles got Saquon, even though everyone questioned it. And the other thing, and this is where I'm glad I get to make an Eagles video for this, is again, man, how much help does Stafford need? Gosh, he needs an elite defense, an elite offensive line, an elite running game, elite receivers, elite coaching. He just needs everything, right? He just needs everything. How much help does McVay need? I thought Sean McVay is supposed to be a brilliant coach. He needs everything. Oh my gosh. I mean, if Matthew Stafford doesn't win the Super Bowl this year, what are we going to say? What are we going to say? Because we've spent the last 2 years bashing Jalen Hurts for how he won. Who has a more stacked team right now? The Los Angeles Rams right now, with all their absolute bona fide, experienced, proven elite talent, or what the Eagles had in 2024. I mean, people questioned Saquon Barkley. They questioned Jalen Hurts. They questioned that Kelsey retired. Now they have a new center, right? They questioned Lane Johnson's health. They questioned Cooper DeJean, Mitchell, they were rookies. Bond. No one was saying, oh, now the Eagles have Bond, this defense is going to be elite. Oh, they got Darius Slay who's 75 years old. Oh, he's going to be a huge factor. No one was saying that. I mean, of course, afterward they said it, but no one was saying it beforehand. The Rams, and I'm pointing over there because apparently that's where the Rams are right now. They're just right over there. You just keep going straight. They've got the proven talent. They've got the proven Hall of Famers. They've got the proven elite, been there done that talent. But it's okay when they do it. Let me know your thoughts. I read every single comment, whether you agree with me or disagree. Either way, let's start some discussions. Let's get into some debates. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I'd absolutely love to see you be part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something we're really excited to be a part of. I think we're well on our way to doing that. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really helps with visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.